Hello everyone, I'm David Gross, I'm your instructor for this course, and today I want to talk to you about the workshop process that we're going to be using here. I don't make a lot of these videos, so if I seem a little not used to the YouTube effect, it's because I'm not. So this video might be the most important material that you're going to encounter in this course. It could really help you become a better rider, but it might not. But it definitely is the most important material that you're going to encounter in terms of getting a good grade in this course. You see, students sometimes forget that the workshop is exactly worth as many points as the essay drafts are, and those two things together match the value of the final essay for the portfolio. So, the last time I taught this course, I had two separate students who could have gotten A's in the course, and one of them got a B minus and one of them got a C minus. And this was just because one of them blew off the workshops and one of them blew off the workshops and the small little exercise and craft and journal assignments that we have. Even though the essays themselves are a huge portion of the grade, if you don't do the other work, you will not get a good grade in this course. And the workshops are the biggest non-essay portion of your grade. So all of that is just to say that it's really important that you take these seriously and do them well. Okay, so now that I've impressed on you the importance of doing the workshops, I want you to start by pausing, and within this same assignment you will see a document called something like Example Student Essay. Go ahead and read that essay and then resume this video. That's probably about enough pause for me. So that's an essay that we're going to talk about. I'm going to talk about what kind of stuff goes into the actual workshop forum and what goes into the letter. So to give you a little preparatory material, starting on Monday, so it'll actually be opened up Sunday night of this week, you are going to see a link to the left that says something to the effect of workshop groups. I forget what exactly I named it, but let me take a look here. Yeah, it's workshop groups. So you're going to click on that and you're going to find that there is a special discussion forum that you have been made a part of just for your memoir assignment. And when you log in there, you will see that there are only 4 other students who are in there. So on Sunday night, at the same time that you upload your memoir assignment for me to read, you are also going to go into that discussion board. You're going to start a new thread and you're going to upload your memoir there. Upload the actual Word document there and include a short paragraph basically saying, here's what I'm trying to do in this essay. Doesn't have to be long. In fact, you don't even have to do that part. You can just do a little post that says, here's my essay, and then they can click on it and read it. So you are going to read all of the essays from everyone in your group. They're all going to read yours, and then they're in that forum under the discussion thread that you've started. You're going to discuss your essay, and under the discussion thread that each of your fellow workshop students have started, you will discuss their essays. So you're going to read 4 essays, and you're going to have conversations about 5 essays, 4 that other people wrote and 1 that you wrote. So now that you have read the essay by Richard Davies called Read Only Memory, let's talk about the way that you would discuss it. In the forum, not in the letter, we're not to the letter yet, but in the forum, the point is fact-finding and ideas. So if you want to start out with saying something to the effect of, I thought your essay was great, it's the best thing I've ever read, you can feel free to do that. But you do not need to do that, and that is not the point of the workshop. The point of the workshop is to ask questions that make you really understand what the author was trying to do. And if the author fully accomplished that, which they won't have on the very first draft of this essay, then you would just discuss how they can make it even more vibrant. But no one's going to, on the first version of the essay, actually accomplished everything that they're trying to accomplish. So your goal during the week of this workshop is to figure out what they're trying to accomplish and then to help them accomplish it. So let's take a look at some of the conversation that took place in this essay. If you look at the first page, you'll notice that there's no heading on it, but for the rest of the essay, he has level 1, level 2, level 3, and congratulations. So somebody commented, I noticed that every part of this essay has a heading except for the introduction. Have you considered putting one here so that it all matches? Loading, perhaps? Someone else commented, or press start. And then the first person was like, it can't be press start, that's how the introductory section ends, as press start moves into level 1, so that doesn't work. Somebody else just pointed out that they felt like the tiny, hyperactive undead creature was a little bit of overkill that it distracted from what they were trying to do. Someone else, being really pedantic, said in reference to the gray plastic cube midway down the first page that it's not a cube, it's a hexahedron, that a cube would have squares on each side, and since this is squares and rectangles, it's a hexahedron. Let's see, what are some other comments that people made? Just trying to, let's get into, some of those are really nitpicky, so let's get into the more conceptual ones. Somebody said, I find it, on page 2, in level 1, the writer here mentioned as he was a kid that he, when he lost a life, used a racial epithet that he didn't even know the meaning of. And somebody said, I find it curious that you didn't take the opportunity here to put some dialogue into your essay by having yourself actually shout the word. Is this because you think it would not be acceptable to narrate that scene? Or is it that your father did such a good job of teaching you how unacceptable this kind of language is that you wouldn't dream of using it now, even for verisimilitude? So obviously that person had to have read the rest of this essay before they were even able to evaluate maybe why he didn't want to use that. But also that's really dealing with, you know, the larger themes of we're trying to take nonfiction and use the methods that a fiction writer might use. Why aren't you using dialogue here? He had an answer for that. A little while later, somebody else said, well, I'm really glad that you didn't use that expression. But 2 sentences later, when you said, my father reacted with horror, I really wish instead of saying he reacted with horror, you would have shown me how he did react. So that person is saying, I really like that first choice that you made and not writing that racial epithet there. But you could have said, I said a racial epithet, and then of saying my dad was horrified, you could have said something else. And if I remember correctly, I'd have to go back and look, but if I remember correctly, in the final draft of this paper, the writer here did not take that first piece of advice. He did not include a racial epithet in his paper, thank goodness. But he did narrate, but he showed a description of the way that his dad responded. Instead of saying he was horrified, he described his dad's face, and he actually said the words that his father said in response. So you don't have to take all the advice that you were given, but he would not have even had those 2 pieces of advice to choose from if they hadn't been given in the workshop discussion. Moving on, page 3, let's see. So halfway down level 2, right after congratulation and game over, somebody commented that they lost track of what was going on here. This is really important. If there's a point in the essay where you go, I'm not sure what was happening there, During the workshop, you can say to the writer, I don't know what was happening there. What were you trying to do? And they can explain it to you. And then you can provide feedback on, well, here's how I would have understood that better. In the letter, you can't do that because it's just a letter. So that's why it's important that these workshops are give and take, give and take. And then someone else asked at the very bottom of that page whether the term satanic panic was something real from the news of that time period or whether it was something that this writer made up. I could go on like this for days, but I think that gives you a little bit of the gist of the kinds of things that are going to go into the discussion. It is not in the workshop forum an evaluation of the paper. It is an actual discussion of the paper, just like you might discuss, I don't know, an episode of The Office with a friend who really likes The Office. This is 2018, by the way. I just don't know of any shows that are currently on TV. This isn't a 10-year-old video. So now moving on to the letter. The workshop letter is something a little bit different. So I have attached the letter that one of the workshop people wrote also to this assignment so that you can see the difference. This is where the evaluation comes in. It's saying, hey Richard, I think you did this well. I think you didn't do this well. After the whole conversation that we had, I think that this change would bring your whole essay together and make it more coherent. The letter is not just copying and pasting all of your posts from the workshop into one document and then uploading it to the discussion board. That's not what it is. Submitting your workshop letter is a couple of things. First off, you're going to put all your letters into one Word document. And in the assignments page, you're going to upload those letters to me. But you are also, in that same discussion board, you're going to do one of two things. You are either going to upload the letter directly into the discussion board, or if you say something that you feel perhaps the person that wrote the essay would not want the rest of the people in your workshop group to read, then you will just put a note saying, I emailed you the letter, and you will email them that letter. So hopefully that clarifies the difference between those two tasks. I'm going to open up a discussion board thread for questions. So if you have any questions, please ask. I would much rather spend a lot of time answering questions than I would shaking my head going, why don't these students want to get an A? And of course, it's pretty easy to get an A in if they do the work. So as for points, the way I break the points down, you notice the workshop is worth 50 points. I do an even split down the middle. 25 points are for writing a good letter. 25 points are for conducting a good workshop. I do not give an official, you must post this number of times. However, I can tell you, you should plan on posting once per participant of the board per day. So, just every day, log in, look at what people have said to you, respond to it, and then look at other people's discussions, read what's been written, and follow up on the conversation as it's flowing with further stuff. That sounds like a lot, but each of these posts does not need to be multiple paragraphs, especially if it's not about your essay. If you're just asking a question, it's going to be just a sentence, right? So it shouldn't take very long. Altogether, the entire workshop, if it was to take place all at once, like everyone was logged in at the same time, there was no downtime. The entire workshop, not counting reading the essay, would take about 50 minutes. So once again, log into the discussion board, ask me any questions, read this example essay, read the example student letter, and I really look forward to seeing your essays.